that is one of the most difficult to understand skills in League of Legends, I think, is just like, you see someone go for a play, and it doesn't look like it was mechanically impressive, and you're like, well, why did it work? It's because they saw an angle that no one else saw, right? And that is something that I really kind of had hammered home for me when I had a kick where I was playing Tryndamere, right? I was playing a lot of Tryndamere.
Yeah.
And Tryndamere has like no mechanics. This champion is so simple. And I was really kind of like, okay, well, what really is the difference between the best Tryndamere player in the world and me, right? Because I can press the buttons in the same way. And the more I watch, the more I realize, oh my God, they just see all these dive angles that like I wouldn't have even tried, right?
Sure.
Like I wouldn't even realize. And it's like, oh, well, this guy is at exactly 85% HP and I'm this level with this item, and that means I can kill him under the tower with my ultimate. And it's just like, that to me is how it felt watching that Berserker Isles 2v2. And I just think that is a really underappreciated aspect of skill in League of Legends.
It's true.
This deep understanding that is required to even attempt to play, let alone pull it off.
Ooh, we might see a Shyvana from Armao into the Nocturne as well, but I completely agree. I mean, that's how I used to feel on Old Udyr. Have you ever played that? A little bit less intense than Tryndamere.
I played Old Udyr a little bit.
He literally just waddled around, had no blinks. So it was only, do you know where you win and where you lose? And if you did, you could do very well in the game. Game's evolved since then, for sure.
But it's like Nunu and even Singe, you know, some of these champions that have no mechanics basically have these crazy mastery curves, which is basically the more games you play, the better you perform on the champion, because it is, as you're saying, about being in the right place rather than pressing the buttons in a complicated way.
It's almost, it's a little bit like just overall League of Legends mastery curve too with those champions. But it's like, it's not like Yunar is an easy champion. Berserker has all the mechanics, but then they also have that understanding. So.
Exactly. That's what makes Berserker Berserker and us. As we're talking about mastering Old Udyr and Stinged and stuff. That's where, you know, time comes for everyone eventually.
An 86% Season 1 win rate
on
Old Udyr.
That's big.
Rank 42 on the ladder at the end of the season, you know?
Huge. All right,
something.
Caitlyn and Bard for Sentinels here. Let's catch up on the draft a little bit, paired with that Nocturne. When you see Nocturne, you do expect to see a lot of dive paired alongside it. For now, no dive buddies just yet, but of course, Shyvana, great counter engage into the dive, you know, is relatively tanky. The fear off the ultimate can be very, very nice, and as we know, Ryze gets very tanky as well and can play through those side lanes, and sometimes if you time the Rel Warp, you can escape before that fear tether comes through from Nocturne as well.
I mean, I'd expect HamBak to go the standard Nocturne build, Hexblade into Stridebreaker into GA, but I would say in solo queue, one of the highest win rate junglers is Halo Blade's Lethality Profane Hydra Nocturne. With the way he played last game, you could see a window for it, but you'd have to really commit to that style, and currently there's not like a bunch of champs that he'd be able to ult onto, but just want to call it out because HamBak has gotten really far ahead in some of these games in case it happens.
Yeah, absolutely has, and he's willing to play some of these risky champs. We saw Kha'Zix, we've seen you know, Nashiri and Qiyana and a number of different assassins come out, and he is very good at that style. The Vayne ban coming through here may just be setting up for a Gnar or a Renekton, something along those lines, and it is going to be an Annie ban, which I do quite like. I think it's a reasonable matchup into the Ryze and a great pairing with the Nocturne. You don't see the Annie coming, it is hard to react to the tippers, and so that is kind of the thought process there. PTA Azir also really becoming quite meta, and even some PTA Dusk and Dawn Azir is getting pretty popular these days as well, so that is going to be taken away from DARKWINGS.
Saw Zinni do it yesterday, but the big catalyst for all that was just the Azir buffs, right? 15 damage at rank 1 on his Q, and it keeps that damage buff throughout all
time, baby.
Ability.
Gotta get that Azir buff in.
Whew, I missed him, man, so much. I really love seeing Azir. I'm glad he's back.
I don't know if you heard my whole crap about Corki.
Corki's Azir is less offensive than Corki.
Exactly.
Because he at least has the swoop in.
The swoop is the package.
It's the package.
Yeah. Imagine Azir with no swoop.
He'd be Corki.
He'd be Corki.
He would, very similar to Corki.
They used to play against each other. Maybe we could put them both mid lane.
For those of you who missed this, you're basically saying most boring champion in pro play.
Yeah,
I think Sivir's also extremely boring.
It is. But
that was a good counter by me.
Looks cooler because I think spell shield moments can be cool, and also just like
I blocked your spell.
Yeah, if you block like a
that's just as cool as like dashing an ability with W or something. On
it looks cooler. Yeah.
Okay. I know you're just going to counter. You practice this in your head. You're like, every single champion, I have a way of discounting them.
Honestly, it just came out. It wasn't really a practice thing. Just my rage for Corki built up, and then it came out. We're going to have Hwei as the answer here for DARKWINGS.
And Dhokla locks Corki top.
We got MF Nautilus a throwback combo here, very combo-based. Berserker not going to be able to carry in the same way. Not that he can't carry on the MF, but this is a champion that needs setup. And we will see where Dhokla wants to go. We have seen his Swain a couple times, and it is very good against dive, but there really isn't that much dive on this comp. Honestly, I'm pretty surprised by what they ended up with. When we first picked Nocturne, I thought we were seeing a very different comp, right? We have Caitlyn Hwei. This is like a siege comp.
It's a poke comp.
It's like a siege comp with a Nocturne randomly in there, because it is really good at controlling space when you do a trap line, and then you can also drop, I can't even remember the name of the ability because it's a million for Hwei, but basically you drop the little eye on the ground that roots you when you walk through. So it's really good at controlling space. But who's going in with Nocturne? Nocturne press alt and goes in, and then what? Flashes out?
The longest range Hwei ability, Severing Bolt. Yep,
you got
that's
the
what's going in
strike.
with him.
Yep.
He's going in with Severing Bolt and ace in the hole if no one is in the way.
Yeah, and maybe Ksante's in there, but...
I do feel like that happens a lot when you first pick Nocturne, because so much of draft still is just based off of response to lane matchups.
Yeah.
So they just ended up picking things that didn't dive well with the Nocturne as a response to the other things that they had to see in the draft. And I think it's kind of interesting on both sides, right? Berserker goes from that Yunara Lulu game to MF, which I've definitely seen him carry with before because they can be so dominant in lane phase and can control space in team fights, but it just doesn't have the same outplay potential as he would have had in the last game. So we're in for an interesting game 3 here.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I'm going to be curious to see how effective, HamBak can be. I just feel like there's just a million plug-and-play AD junglers. So if Nocturne doesn't fit the bill, I mean, Nocturne is a strong jungler, has a great invade, has fast clear, but if you don't have dive buddies, I just feel like it's really hard to play in team fights. And I just feel like you can plug in almost any other AD jungler and then have a better chance of success, right? There's just so many of them in the game right now.
Yep. But if they have Nocturne Ryze, you're in trouble. So there's different elements to that as well. I got the name of your Hwei eye. It is Gaze of the Abyss. It is the EW.
Yep. Yeah. I know all the combos. I just don't know their names.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But like there's, the QE, that's Rumble Ult. I don't know what it's actually called.
Yep, Molten Fissure.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. I know there's the QQ is the little kind of like you shoot it out. There's a bolt.
Devastating fire.
There's Severing Bolt is QW. Like I know all the abilities. There's just too many names and they're not even cool, so I didn't have to learn them.
Yeah, I had a period of time where I thought I should just become a Hwei guy because he's actually quite easy mechanically and it's just a knowledge gap. Like once you can get in your brain like, oh, I just want this ability available to me, I feel like the skill shots are not super hard. He can wave clear really well. He can still, like his ult is just like one of the simplest ults in the game still. You just throw it out at someone and it blows up. But the interesting thing that I've noticed about like good Hweis are the ones that play really short range, and if you try and engage on them, they can fear you. That's the biggest mechanic test of Hwei, which I could never pass, so I dropped it. That's
what I was going to say. The fear, how you use that is so game-changing. You fear people out of dashes, you fear people out of engages. It is wildly powerful. It is a cool champion, definitely. It's lower on mobility, so your positioning is really important. It's kind of testing different skills here.
Yep.
As DARKWINGS has been, to me, doing really well overall throughout this year. 4 Sentinels has been a pleasant surprise. As Dhokla in some trouble here, getting put very low by Impact, but does get the level up, and Impact is low on mana, so Impact just going to take the reset here and go back to base. But Impact on a tank could mean good things here for Sentinels. Obviously, very famous for his tank play throughout his career.
See if he can have a little bit better of a laning phase. So we have these stats from before the series, but this series has mostly been true. Dhokla's having an amazing summer split. I mean, leading the league where everyone constantly gasses up Thanatos for good reason, but Dhokla's laning stats have just been better. Goal difference 14, CST at 14, XP difference, as well as getting not that much help from his own jungle. So been doing an exceptional job.
Yeah, Thanatos obviously is known as the best laning top laner in the league and has been for quite some time. But I will say he has been much less dominant in his 1v1s. I think this split, I think his team fighting has been really, really good. But I have felt like, whether it is an intentional style choice to try to be a little bit more safe or what it is, he's been playing, I think, less that lane dominant style. And HamBak potentially going to get in here behind them as they're just kind of baiting this. Isles could be in some trouble. In comes HamBak. They're going to pop the early heal. Flash forward there by huhi. Blocks the hook. but it is going to be okay for Isles, and at the end of the day, it's even trade on those summoners.
Yeah, blocks the hook, but it was into the aftershock of Isles, so they couldn't do any damage before he get back into turret range, and now he could be really delayed if Berserker interrupts this. So you can see already Armao back for his second full clear, already on Gromp, and Saint roams down too.
Yeah, Saint being very annoying there. They will spot him, but I don't think they have any more interrupts to
Instant invade. So Armao actually skips his Gromp. Once Saint got the second interrupt, they're now going to try and counter jungle the Krugs.
Yeah, this is nicely done. The recall just finishing now there for HamBak is going to be out on the map, but will find himself down the Krugs. We'll see if it's anything more than that, as Dhokla has push on top side for now, so would be there to support Armao if needed. Looks like HamBak will be able to just grab the Raptors, and we'll just lose that one camp for his trouble. I think it was worth a look for sure. You know, had a good angle on that wraparound, but played well enough there by Berserker and Isles that doesn't end up being much of anything.
Yeah, now he's got some free time. Gonna try for a Raptor invade. So knowing his Krugs were stolen, he knows if Armao wants to full clear down, that he's not gonna be able to defend these Raptors, and that's really where you're gonna counter it. And everyone's on top of this game. That's why Isles is here to check, but unless he's got a Shyvana there with him, he can't defend.
Yeah, Isles being a little bit annoying, trying to reset, buy some time, so he kind of pulls the camp to the side and then forces to reset as HamBak arrives. But of course, it is too little, it is too late. Armao was just kind of clearing top to bot, so we'll lose one camp for one camp, and not that big of a deal on either side, as the gold lead very, very slightly in the favor of LYON.
So one of the reasons that was more important is because of the smite upgrade when your treat reaches 20 charges. If they don't steal those Raptors, Armao could have continued to clear down, and he'd have an upgraded smite for that top Scuttle Crab or that Drake. But now, since it was denied, he's likely going to wait until 5:30 to get the extra treat, smite the Krugs, and have his upgraded smite. That's why he reset after the Raptors.
Impact going all out. Dhokla going to have to try to kite this one out. We'll see if he wants to go for a Q3 flash instead. Just uses the footwork, dashing forward, and Dhokla has a dash of his own to answer. Back has to be a little bit careful because the public execution is ready, so he's just going to be going right back to base. Off the back of that is out of mana once again. And we can see some of the playoff scenarios here. If Sentinels win, it does knock LYON down to 99.5% chance to make the playoffs, so they're going to be pretty worried about that, but of course it is a pretty big jump for Sentinels. If they lose, they're about 70% as far as the math is concerned, so still very good odds to make playoffs, but you know, would be a big boon to their chances here if they're able to win this, as Saint going to get hit by the Spiraling Despair. In comes Huhi looking for the binding. Of course, does not have anything to bind him onto, so Saint just holds onto the flash and is able to run out. Now flashes the wall, perfectly timed, dodges the Severing Bolt. In comes Huhi, Darkwings flashes forward, hits him with the Crushing Maw, grabs the first blood. Saint just gets everything in the kitchen sink thrown at him and eventually falls.
And the big thing there is with flashing the Nocturne, he was able to avoid the damage of the Nocturne Q, but they just followed him over the wall, still got the kill. Armao still got the Drake. That's kind of the trade there, is going to be a little bit of additional gold, but first Drake over to LYON.
It's quite nice for Darkwings. Grabs that first blood. Now up 750 gold, has a much better buy as a result. As Huhi in some trouble, bullet time over the wall might be enough to finish him off. One more auto would do it, but Isles can't get in range. Huhi limps away, barely surviving thanks to the heal as well as those Keeper Shrines.
Not even close, and a lot of power from Berserker right now, sitting on that BF sword and longsword compared to the Cull pickaxe of Rahel. But with Dragon already being down, not going to be much until we see the next one spawn in 4 minutes.
Yeah, that BF first base buy always feels so nice on MF because that's really your only super expensive component. You're rushing in towards that BT, so being able to get that makes it pretty easy to grab everything else piecemeal, and you can see LYON sending their bot lane up towards top here, initiating that swap, as it will be Dhokla heading back out on the map and going to be answering the Caitlyn down on that bottom side.
Yeah, and just as you were talking about the playoff percentages for Sentinels, just a reminder of their upcoming schedule. 2 games next week, FlyQuest and DSG. You really got to circle that DSG game as the biggest one, because that's likely the team that they would be competing with if they are to miss playoffs. DSG Dignitas still 0-4. 6 of the 8 teams make playoffs, and head-to-head tiebreakers are very important. Yeah. So that's going to be the most important game for them. But, I mean, if they win this one, very, very high chance they make playoffs.
Yeah, almost for sure, you'd think. And Sentinels here going to be starting up the grubs. Armao is in the area, has a level lead for now, and has that ulti ready to go. Berserker moving over, but has no bullet time. Will just be the one grub take there for HamBak. Pretty standard stuff. It's going to be 2 for LYON, 1 there for Sentinels. But as long as you don't give over all 3, you're really just kind of not concerned.
Yep, and I feel like LYON ends up doing this a lot with MF, as they're more likely to move the MF pre-role quest completion for objectives like this, because you're a little bit extra fast, and then not to mention, Dhokla can put some pressure onto Rahel. It's going to delay the role quest, but does allow them to continue to secure objectives.
Yep, and MF is so strong at playing through mid lane. So once you get the BT, just Parker mid, move the Ryze and the Ambessa out towards those side lanes, and you can play that 1-3-1 style pretty effectively as a result. Rahel down here on this bottom side, down about 400 gold. Of course, he's going to make some of that back once he does cash in on the cull. Has stayed safe, but was getting a little bit behind in that 2v2 to Isles and Berserker.
Pretty nice move there by Rahel, though, was able to interrupt Dhokla's recall when they do the swap and the swap back. A lot of loss of tempo. That's a full wave that's going to be interrupted. So a very valuable play there by Rahel. Going to keep Impact in an extremely good spot in this lane against Ambessa. Yep,
and has that full Thornmail now completed here. So does finish that first item Thornmail. And will be pretty tanky as a result. I'm never that big of a fan, honestly, of the Thornmail rush, though. I feel like, I mean, it gives you a faster item completion if you feel like you need to stop for Bramble, but I just feel like your dueling power is a lot lower compared to, some of these other first item rushes.
Iceborne Gauntlet could be a pretty good one, but...
Yeah, I mean, Iceborne works so well in Ksante.
We'll see. Impact, I don't question his tank play. I'm going to question his Kled play, but I mean, he does have a 66% win rate on Kled now.
There you go.
So 4-2.
Shouldn't be questioning it.
Can't question that.
Not the Varus play either, 100% win rate.
Yeah. 62% win rate when he goes down 30 CS at 15. Unlikely to happen this game.
He'd have to stop farming very quickly if he wants to pump up that win rate. We'll see if he does it. And in goes the Pathmaker. Impact and Dhokla is trading pretty heavily here. Dhokla does not have the Eclipse completed, though. Is going to hit him with the Public Execution. In comes the Realm War. Impact should just be able to walk this one out, but we will see. Flash is forced, so they do get the Summoner for the roam here from Saint, but probably going to be the cost of a couple minions and maybe even a play mid lane. And Dhokla definitely needs to get back to base to buy his first item before he looks for more fights. Saint, though, going to be in some trouble. Dodges out on the Crushing Maw. Is going to be hit by the Tempered Fate there, but that kind of immunes the fear. So Huhi not getting a lot done. And a great ulti comes in from Armao. 3-man fear, but just gets turned around on there by DARKWINGS and HamBak and forced to flash out.
Much ado about nothing at the end of it, though. Flash ult from Armao, Ghost from Saint. I think Saint was probably fine with or without that Bard ult attack coming in from Huhi, and it's the counter engage by Armao ends up being maybe the mistake. Very close game still, but that Nocturne ult being burned will give Saint a little bit more freedom, or even Dhokla a bit more freedom to play aggressive in the side lanes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really interesting, right? Because in a situation like that, maybe you just let the Fear Tether land and then you ult the tower and you keep chasing, right?
Yeah.
You know, a play like that, I think, has a higher percentage chance of getting the kill. Whether or not it would have, to your point, who knows? Might not have made the difference, but I think that probably would have been the correct run of play in that moment. But it is a couple ults used here for HamBak and hasn't really been able to get too much done, but is farming just fine. But I think Armao is pretty happy with how things have gone. Just comfortably farming up here on the Shyvana. Going to have his Triforce pretty soon. And it's going to be pretty difficult, I think, to deal with in these team fights.
I think so. Armao is going to have better late game scaling. HamBak's main job in this game, since we mentioned the Nocturne just feels pretty out of place with the rest of their team comp, I think it's just going to be controlling Ryze in the side lanes as most as possible. Because if it comes to a team fight, like Nocturne flying in, he's probably just going to die. So it's just about being close enough to his solo laners if Ryze ever goes to make a play to at least turn off the lights.
Yeah.
And make LYON a little bit discombobulated. And
potentially, you know, it is difficult for Berserker to press bullet time if Nocturne hasn't been pressed, right? You know, you can at least maybe make him cancel that, or maybe make him think twice about pressing it. But definitely not the easiest Nocturne game here, as they aren't the most squishy carries. Ryze especially just becomes very, very difficult. And then MF, if you don't kill her quick with the BT, of course, is going to be able to heal right back up. There's the Eclipse now completed for Dhokla, as expected. And we just kind of continue farming. It is a lead for Berserker in the bot lane, matched by that advantage for DARKWINGS in the mid lane. And that basically is the only thing happening right now. A couple hundred gold between supports, but just isn't really relevant.
Kind of interesting that in a series where objective and champion bounties have swung both games, they've just decided they don't want to be ahead. No bounties for me. We're going to play it slow until the deciding team fights. No slingshotting here.
Yeah,
we're not pulling back the slingshot. We're just keeping the rock right in the middle.
They both realize the team that gets the lead loses. So they're trying to make sure they, at all costs, do not get ahead.
Just
keep it
standard
even.
Gameplay.
Exactly. Keep it even. keep it all
They got
safe.
the first Drake. We better get that second one.
Yeah, exactly. Got to keep it even. But we'll see if anyone can get a significant advantage in one of these next Dragon fights. It will be Ocean Soul on the table. Of course, valuable for everyone, but whenever you have a team, you know, with someone like Ksante on it, Ksante, true tanks in general, with Ocean Soul just becomes so tough to deal with.
Yeah.
And Saint did get behind off of that early gank that they made work on him, but he's just been chilling, farming it up in those side lanes, and is well above 10 CS per minute, so Saint is going to get his items in a reasonable time, even though that row was maybe a bit more delayed than he would have liked.
Absolutely. Nocturne does make it a little bit more difficult on him to play aggressive in the side lanes. This isn't the Quid Ryze style currently, but it's because they haven't had massive pressure in lanes. Saint did die early, as you've already mentioned. And we're probably in just a bit of a holding pattern until this next Drake, although that's a lot of LYON people grouping up together.
Yeah, there's a lot of them in that area here. Looking to see, is there an angle to fight for something? And it looks like for now there is not. Dhokla going to have to stay safe as his team was all moving through that bot side, going to be playing towards the scuttle. So Dhokla just kind of hanging out in the river, trying to get vision of anyone moving up there, and was able to spot huhi before getting back to the tower to just collect this wave that is being pushed in. Armao grabs the scuttle for himself and is very close as a result to cresting that level 11 and does have that Triforce completed. Really big power spike there for Armao, especially when he gets that rank 2 of the ulti. Can be such a game changer, especially if you are over chasing. And as someone, the counter engage there from the Dragon's Ascent with Fear is huge.
You can see role quests still coming in for LYON as well. Part of that is because they've swapped so early. It's still going to happen. It's not really that big a deal. The Scuttle Crab even is the mini objective. That's worth sacrificing your role quests a little bit for, if it means that Armao does hit that level 11.
Yeah, AD carry is always the one. You know, AD carry and top to me are always the ones that are kind of interesting, like about because you just can't get that gold back, kind of you can't get the bonus experience back, right? But support, it's kind of like, you're gonna get the gold eventually. Who cares? And mid lane, as long as you get those boots upgraded, it's gonna happen, right? So it's not that big of a deal. Of course, there is a cost to delaying any of them, but as long as they have them ready by the time there is a major fight, which I think they will, then should be good to go. Sentinels, though, going to be able to grab this Herald uncontested on the top side, while LYON are setting up on that bot side for a potential dive here onto Impact. Lyles is coming in behind him. He is going to be hard to kill, but they might just focus down the tower first. Armao, though, did pull aggro. TP's coming in. Impact trying to run here. The Bard ult comes in. Buys a little bit of time, but the tower is gone. Dragon's Ascent going to get popped there. Armao does not connect on anyone with the Fear, but there's Public Execution in onto Impact. He goes all out, trying to run for the hills. huhi, though, gets Room Prison and knocked down, so Isles is able to help them corral that and get a kill on the enemy support.
Ooh, so clutch that they were able to finish huhi at the end of that. But now mid lane, we see HamBak.
Yeah, Berserker in some trouble. Flashes away, but doesn't actually create enough space. But in comes the Realm Warp, in comes LYON as the cavalry arrives to get a little bit of revenge. That ace in the hole plus the paranoia combo. Too much for Berserker to survive, even with both sums.
Really insane map play coming out as this Drake is spawning. It all starts with the dive that kills huhi, then Nocturne, Ryze ult are exchanged. So what ends up happening is DARKWINGS gets full waves and the turret up top, but when all is said and done, Armao should be able to smite that Drake.
And is that a flash? Yeah, Armao had to flash out, was worried about Rahel moving over. Dhokla had impact low, but can't actually get the kill. They do get the dragon at the end of the day and back off. And of course, it is always nice here, you know, for Shyvana. You know, every large monster, minion, etc., you are scaling. It is not specifically tied to dragons anymore, but the more you farm, the tankier you get, and that scale mail just keeps getting more and more powerful.
Yeah, 47 stacks of the scale mail right now for 14 bonus armor and 14 bonus magic resist. Watch this play one more time. While the darkness is there, they know the play is mid, so they start the Realm Warp while they are blind. And then when the darkness runs off, they can very easily kill HamBak in the 3v1. Berserker did end up burning Flash Barrier, but I think still an overall good sequence for LYON since they got the objective. They traded up 2 kills for 1, not to mention killing the bot turret.
Yeah, and killing that dragon was also really big because it means the next time they have a big dragon fight, Berserker will have his summoners back.
Yeah.
And remember, we will very likely be seeing LYON, and maybe TL, those are looking like the top 2 teams, but who knows who's going to be there. So you better be there at the Gas South Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. It is October 3rd and 4th. That is our summer finals. That is where we are going to decide who is going to go fight for us at Worlds. And Worlds is NA, so I feel like it's that much more important for the LCS teams. This one, talking to the pros, they want really bad.
I would want them to be there as well. I would also want, and I'm being greedy here, Inspired to win Game 4 against HLE, because then we would have sent half our league. It would completely change the dynamic of Summer Split.
Oh, I thought you were just going to list all the Game 5s they lost.
When
Gen G and BLG. I would have liked them to win those ones too.
Yeah.
But it was really cool that we got close.
It was. It was really cool.
Hey,
we're the third best region in the world.
It's coming. It's coming at Worlds.
Third best team in the world, third best region in the world.
Getting lots of practice in those Game 5s.
Gets him with the Severing Bolt. I can see the Storm Surge coming in as well for DARKWINGS going for the Magic Pen build, but maybe we see a fight here in the jungle.
Yeah, they're just going to full send it, and HamBak did not see this coming. Huhi with a great bit of time being purchased there as HamBak flashed over the wall, then ults back to safety, and on the top side, Impact is fighting against Saint here in a 1v1. That was some tricky stuff there. Saint trying to sidestep, is able to do it, gets out with a Realm Warp, but that was a crazy run of play. The Bardol comes into buy time. He flashes over the wall, then Paranoia is back over the wall the other way and is able to survive and get out.
The most elusive Nocturne possible. I did wonder if Huhi had trolled, though, because DARKWINGS had thrown out his spiraling despair into the big group of people. It just flew through the stasis of the Bard ultimate, but they still end up winning the fight, getting the kill here. So everyone's just thinking about it. Huhi lands the stunner. They think, you know, why not just fight? HamBak was 100% dead if Huhi doesn't throw that out. Flash back over to kill Armao. Just awesome stuff there by HamBak at Sentinels.
Yeah, very well done. And you can see the initial moment, and he's like, oh wait, it's not bad.
Not bad.
From
not
despair
great.
to apathy.
Not bad.
Not joy. Felt okay about it. And Berserker also had to cancel that bolt time earlier because Rahel came in and was kind of pushing him out on the side.
Nice.
And Rahel now on that Infinity Age plus the Hex Optics, so is very strong at this point in the game. And once he gets in, potentially an LDR, whatever his third item is, that's where Caitlyn usually starts to go pretty crazy at this point.
I think Sentinels is in a pretty good spot in this game as long as HamBak doesn't lose his mind, because if Rahel DARKWINGS continue scaling, they just have so much range.
Yeah.
And I do think it's really hard for Saint to take over this game because Ksante is really hard to kill on the side lanes, and because Nocturne can kind of protect DARKWINGS a little bit from side lane Realm Warps. And I mean, look at this mid prio they have. They still have 3 plates on their own mid turret, and they've almost taken down tier 2 mid.
Armao going to be spotted, sidesteps the Pathmaker there. And I agree, you know, it is definitely tough to play against this sort of range and that space control, that zone control that they do have with the traps as well as the Hwei. But at the same time, there's some explosive engage on the other time. I mean, you know, you look at Isles, he throws out an ult, you follow it up with public execution and everything else, and now flash forward there. Saint gonna get hit by the binding, Tempered Fate to buy some time as in comes DARKWINGS, roots him up, ace in the hole. Impact is here, the Avengers assemble, flash forward, as well as the Pathmaker. Berserker getting the bullet time down onto Huhi, but Impact goes all out onto Isles. Isles is gonna fall. HamBak pushes back the MF. In goes Armao, and Dhokla has arrived. Impact is on the side, and he may be the sacrificial tank, but he jumps back with the footwork. Now HamBak is going to be able to spell shield the public execution, but it still does not matter. Dhokla gets in, kills him off, but meanwhile, mid lane, the Caitlyn was pushing the whole time and knocked down another tower.
What a sequence there by Sentinels. Could have been oh so much better if the magical journey didn't expire for HamBak to take. They're going to try and rush this Drake down as well before Armao can get here. Jungler down, so they got to do all the damage. Should be safe. Doesn't look like Armao's going to steal it. And Sentinels match the Drakes 2-2, but hold this goal advantage in the game.
3K up, and it is definitely not any significant scaling edge on either side. It's not like last game where you're talking about ornaments.
Gets the connection post-flash because the first part of the barbecue connected and then hit the wall. Put down the eye to guarantee the root on a Saint, but then it looked a little dicey, but almost the extension of this play kept baiting LYON to bring more, because Impact getting under the turret doesn't matter. That's when the Hwei ultimate can come in to take out LYON. HamBak goes a little crazy under the turret, and then like right here, it was the great escape for Impact. If HamBak had just left, he's the jump target. Does actually spell shield the Ambessa ult, just doesn't click the portal. Everybody could have been safe. HamBak ends up falling, but still a great play for Sentinels.
Would you say that was a cool looking spell shield?
It was almost as cool as like a Sivir spell shield. Is that where you're going? At least this one gives attack
like,
speed.
hey, look how enjoyable that was. That could have been Sivir. Corky couldn't do that.
Honestly, spell shield not that cool looking. Still died.
All right, fair.
Yeah. It's like a Banshee's Veil. Whoa!
But he had to press the Banshee's Veil
Damage
at the right time. That's high skill. A Realm Warp going to be coming in. They are looking here for Hwei. We're guessing that he was recalling in the brush, but he was not. He is very safe and back behind his tower. So it is Sentinels pushing everywhere else on the map right now. DARKWINGS built that early lead thanks to the gank that came out and has been able to keep that advantage now 1.2k up. Completes another item here. The Crypt Bloom is dumb. And Rahel working in towards that LDR. So he is going to be having that completed. And on 3 items, his consistent damage is going to be incredibly high.
I like the Hwei build here with the recently buffed Spellslinger shoes, so just going more and more Magic Pen. That's why he goes Storm Surge. That's why he rushes the Crypt Bloom as well. But also a reminder here, the LCS Week 6 schedule, LYON trying to remain undefeated in matches here against Sentinels, and we're assuming that Inspired will return. So a lot to look forward to.
Also, going to be an absolute banger next week, as we do have some other matchups, and we have the LCS pros taking over the broadcast on Sunday. They're going to be running the show. They have no restrictions, except those imposed on them by the producers.
Yeah, we will see. No restrictions that we know of.
Producers, whoa! I'm not restricting anything. I'm just putting it out there, Big G.
Azael has imposed no restrictions.
No restrictions imposed by Azael on the pro players. We'll see, though. It's going to be a lot of fun having them take over. As nice sidestep there from Saint. Great movement. And it does keep himself safe. He had no summoner, so if he got caught by that, he could have been dead.
Yeah, I don't know what the teams were expecting to happen in the mid lane here. If Nocturne turns off the lights and flies in, he probably dies. If Dhokla ults in, he probably dies. So it's a bit of an eye contact fight. Unless someone's trying to control space, we're not going to see much happening. I do think long-term, the Hwei Caitlyn will win these extended duels.
Look at HamBak, though. He gets vision on the side. The Realm Warp coming out. They're going to try to survive. And the Realm Warp is early enough that they break the Fear Tether. That is a great trade for LYON here in this moment. But Dhokla taking quite a bit of damage from the Severing Bolt. And that vision plant, bought the vision needed to go in, but couldn't actually find the kill, unfortunately, there for Sentinels. And Saint now level 16, working towards that actualizer. Will be a very big spike when he can get it.
Nice, also able to secure pretty much every single last bit of gold from those Kruggies. It is a game, though, where Sentinels has control. And this is another test for LYON without Inspired. Because I would say in Spring Split, these are the types of games that LYON would find ways to win. They would just find a way to get an entrance to a dragon, and they would find a way to get an amazing flank in a team fight. And it seemed like again and again they would be able to get away with it. But here, there's so much setup for Sentinels, so much poke from this Hwei. It's really difficult to get in, but LYON still is the best team fighting team we've seen in the LCS. We'll see if they're able to come back from it.
Yeah, and when we saw that in game 2, right? Even in this series, they were massively down in gold. They were able to come back, thanks to some great team fighting. But also, it is going to be tough in this game. If you are not first to the objective, it is very difficult. Huhi will be sent backwards through that magical journey. And that bit of poke that came over the wall from DARKWINGS, the Storm Surge proc and everything going through, was half of Isle's health through his W shield. Just basically instantly. So that is tough to deal with. Saint now has the components for the actualizer, does pick up another plate and pushes in on that top side. So the minion wave getting denied there. And Sentinels has no one answering up on that top side. They're group 3 right now, and they're just playing mid lane and bot currently, as Impact is heading back to base. Saint definitely would love to get the actualizer before that next big fight. Might not have the ability to do so, as Armao is just taking so much damage. In goes HamBak. The Realm Warp coming out there from Saint to rejoin the team, but a great tempered fake catches Saint right as he arrives. The bullet time is laying down the covering fire. Berserker keeps Saint safe for now, but it is still jungler down, support down here. And Sentinels may want to use this to go Baron.
Looks like they're going to use the time to kill Baron. You gotta wonder if they'd want to go for Drake as well, though. Sometimes it's really difficult to convert these Barons. They're already here, so they're going to kill it. But I can also see Dhokla trying to get early position on Drake and Impact trying to disrupt this. So it's take Baron, quick reset, right out to Drake, because Isles and Armao will probably be respawned.
DARKWINGS does have TP, so we'll see if he wants to join. I mean, Dhokla knows he can't just take this in the face of his opponent, and Berserker, I think, has made the call that, you know what, there's not actually an angle to do it. He is going back to base, so Sentinels winning out on both sides. Great pick found initially there on Armao, and gets them soul point as well as the Baron.
Beautiful fight, really. DARKWINGS is having an exceptional Hwei game, and then the Bard ult over the back was just icing on the cake to lock down Saint as well. And LYON says they don't want the smoke here. They don't have enough setup to walk into the space, and they don't want a repeat of what just happened to Baron.
Actualizer completed there for Saint, but here it is one more time. Armao on vision. Just walks
Bard's
in and
done.
gets tagged, and just look at all of that damage coming out. That is a crazy amount of burst.
Yeah, and then you can see pretty easy to pick up Isles afterwards. Nice bullet time there by Berserker, delayed a little bit. And Golden Glue is losing his mind as usual.
Golden Glue has some of the greatest coach reactions. Like, you can feel that he is on the roller coaster. He is in there with the team.
Now Soul Point, 3,500 gold lead, 1.3K of that on DARKWINGS and Baron.
You see how LYON can hold on here. Berserker about halfway to level 16, Rahel almost 17, and that is the flash gone now for Berserker as Tempered Fate well placed from huhi. Means Berserker can have to team fight that next dragon without his flash. Impact now looking for Isles. Isles flashes away. Ace in the hole coming through. Flash forward there from Impact. Gonna go all out and finish off Isles. A lot spent to get the support, but they do indeed get him.
Yeah, and I mean, that's so much engaged down from LYON now. No flash on Berserker's got to be really careful about where he steps up. Nocturne matching Ryze is so good for Sentinels right now in order to continue this siege.
Yeah, it is really, really good. That Baron buff as well, making it work here. Berserker chunked down about half HP. They cannot defend the tower. He doesn't want to spend the bullet time on the wave. Just has to back it up. And if you ever stop and channel that, you can get hit by the orbital strike there from Hwei, by all of these different tools that they have to harass you. So they're going to have to give up the bottom lane and hip off of the pick onto Isles, and Sentinels playing a really strong series here for themselves.
You could see Saint was thinking about trying to get a Realm Warp in, but Sentinels being very respectful, running far, far away. Sentinels looking clean. Wins game one off a comeback. Pretty easy to get tilted after what happened in game two. They were up 9,000 gold. They had a 4,000 gold lead on Kazakh's jungle. Lose a couple team fights, game's over. But didn't feel like they were tilted at all going into this game. They played very stable in lanes. Only 4 deaths for them in 30 minutes. And DARKWINGS has really just been a rock, landing every spell he needs to, holding space extremely well. Sentinels just been very coordinated to this point. They might have another pick on Isles. We'll see.
Forward there. Impact looking for Isles here once again, as Impact's going to be the target. And on the side, it is Berserker in trouble. He's dueling against HamBak. He's surviving for now. The GA gets popped. The stasis is going to be used onto Berserker. Isles blocks the follow-up. The shutdown, though, onto Ksante. Another kill here. And the bullet time is ripping out over Sentinels. It is a 1K shutdown going the way of the Ryze. And LYON crushed that fight.
The caster curse comes in. LYON team fighting prevails once more. We had been talking about how it's hard for the Nocturne to be involved in these fights. If he does go in, he dies. And I think that was the moment where he finally had gone a little bit too deep, because they didn't actually have a great start to this fight. There was no kidnap over the wall. There's no perfect angle here other than, Berserker no flash. But look at Armao on the right side. DARKWINGS and Rahel are completely occupied by Shyvana, which allows the carries of LYON free time to not only pop the GA, but also kill Impact. They get the bounty on Ksante, they get the bounty on HamBak, and then they can really turn and get aggressive. And Saint flashes in for another bounty. 1,000 gold to the Ryze for that kill onto Hwei.
Yeah, quietly some really good team fighting there from Armao. You know, he was not the one getting kills, but like you say, he stops the follow-up, and that is the important thing, because at this point in the game, you're not killing him solo as a Nocturne. It's just not going to happen unless you're so far ahead. I mean, with Locke there, with the CC there, with the Bloodthirster healing, you just don't have the damage to actually get him down. And look at the damage from the Ryze. If you try to fight past a Ryze on 3 items with Actualizer, that's what it looks like.
He's going to get you. DARKWINGS still has the most damage in the game. Mostly it's just been poke. Saint now the most damage on his team. But the big thing here is the bounties that were pulled in that last fight. Saint almost as fed as Rahel.
Oh, Isles, it's a pretty big chunk as he hooked forward onto HamBak, but it was spell shielded. And Menti took quite a bit of damage in return, but is going to be able to heal back up with the Honey Fruit.
But now, crucially, LYON is in the river, so they were able to get set up here. They want to snap engage on someone if they check the wrong spot.
Around more being threatened. Armao going to go in. He has the Dragon's Ascent. Is he going to send it? They turn off the lights. In comes the Dragon's Ascent into the backline. Armao in trouble, though. He's feared up. Spiraling Despair is going to be able to take him down. And HamBak survives on the other side. He just bought some time. Well, LYON lose their jungler, and now it is LYON in a 4v5 with no jungler who have got to hold on. Saint, though, looking for a fight, loses a bit of health there as huhi magical journeys to safety over the wall.
Yeah, Saint burned his actualizer in that trade, so he's much less powerful. No jungler to contest this. That's going to be Ocean Soul going over the side of Sentinels. HamBak, as you mentioned, turning off the lights to kind of make that engage disorganized is the crucial moment.
And now it is Ocean Soul here for Ksante, who is already tough to take down. And they have no healing debuff at all on their entire team. There's nothing, right? So that is going to be pretty difficult to deal with. They're going to need to try to pick up some sort of healing debuff application. And when you have the Ocean Soul, neutral objectives do not threaten you at all. LYON do spot this. It's at 12K, but with Armao just respawning, there's no recourse.
Soul Baron and then run out to try and just collect more gold. I don't know if they need to end the game on this Baron. They obviously will if the opportunity presents itself, but we'll see if HamBak has controlled those Nocturne urges. They really just need to play around Hwei, Caitlyn poke with the Baron, let Impact stand in front, and save the Nocturne ult, the Paranoia, in case LYON tries to engage. And that's when the fight starts. You kind of just press it and don't even think about going in for a carry. You just need to play the lights out man.
Yeah, and it's one of those fights where, LYON try to be the ones starting it off, try to be the ones playing for the aggressive angle, but they had control, in the river. And Sentinels decided, you know what, we're just going to play through mid lane. LYON tried to force it with the Realm Warp plus the Dragon's Ascent. It just did not work out for them. And maybe LYON could have just ceded some mid lane control and tried to play for the Dragon.
Yeah, and Sentinel's going to have to play a little bit faster because Saint is really far up in the bot lane. And he will kill turrets quickly. So Sentinels with the Caitlyn, with the Baron, got to push extremely aggressively to force Saint back to base.
Yeah, and we'll see how quickly he is going to come back as Berserker just going to use the bullet time to try to clear out these waves. In comes the ultimate from Nocturne. They're just full sending it. Flash out there from Berserker. He is alive for now. Barely avoids the Tempered Fate as Armao is fighting under the tower here. Impact has gone all out and is trying to take him down. Is able to do so. Now Saint is coming back to base. He buys the death cap, but they're in a 4v5 and their base is in trouble. DARKWINGS gets incredibly low. Dhokla goes in. There's the bullet time. Takes out DARKWINGS. Impact is running, but Dhokla is there to chase him. Berserker put low. Berserker burst down. It's Saint versus the world here, trying to survive against HamBak. HamBak is going to have to run because Dhokla and Saint are there. They're going to get the kill. This is going to be 4 kills going the way of LYON as they hold the line just barely.
I absolutely love this series. As Saint is top lane, Sentinels make the play to just full send it, and it is the right play in this case because if they can push Berserker out with no actualizer Ryze, it's fine for HamBak to do this, and it buys them enough time to actually just kill this turret because there's no way Ryze is getting back quickly. It's the extension of the play. They broke the inhib in the top side. They could probably move mid right there, easily clear that out, get 2 or 3 inhibs, but instead they say, we want to end the game. And here's where the Isles hook right out of stasis, one-shots with the bullet time. Berserker, watch Berserker Rahel. They just mutually assured destruction. They just kill each other right there. And then Dhokla in the back end of this fight can clean up. And Saint Ryze, who did make it eventually, can clean up HamBak as well.
Yeah, and Saint is full build. Had the death cap there, and you can see some frustration on their faces. Berserker almost taken down. It was just that full send. As soon as they hit the ace in the hole, they don't let him heal back up. They just send the Nocturne ult. Impact is flashing in. Armao did a good job peeling with that Dragon's Ascent, landing the fear to be able to create that space. And I think DARKWINGS just felt so confident because he had the zonies available, but he had no flash. And they timed it well. They had the bullet time out of there. And so that was a big kill. Stopped Sentinels in their tracks, but it is still Sentinels with the Ocean Soul. It is them with control of the map here. And it is them pushing forward and looking to try to seal the deal on what would be a big upset. LYON had not lost the game before today so far this LCS split, and they are on the precipice of losing a series.
Yeah, you can see Sentinels was 5,000 gold up, then not, then 3,000 gold up, then not, and
now we're even. Oh, round warp, they're full sending it.
Everyone
Everyone is going into this one. They're going to try to look for Sentinels. Nocturne is down on the bot side. The bullet time across multiple members. Rahel incredibly low. Rahel is down, and it is is Sentinels in a lot of trouble here. LYON running through them. Saint is low. Impact kills them, but it might not even matter. HamBak trying to fight, but HamBak cannot do it all by himself. DARKWINGS is alive for now, but they're going to chase him. Their base is low, though. He TP's out. Berserker is going to push mid. I don't think it will result in much more because LYON have to defend the base, and DARKWINGS escaped.
What a look there. I don't think Sentinels even saw the Realm Warp. So by the time they were on top of them is when HamBak could press the paranoia. And then with DARKWINGS living on the back end of that fight, it meant Berserker couldn't go mid-wave to kill the Nexus. What an engage there by LYON.
And that was insanely confident because if that goes bad, if you Realm Warp in and you get hit by a Tempered Fate into a Spiraling Despair, that could just be GG, right? Like, you could just be dead. That's crazy confidence. Yeah. It's rare to see so many people go in the Realm Warp together.
So let's see. This is Sentinel's vision with their wards.
They see it.
They see it. You have to press Paranoia, like, yesterday.
Okay, we can also defend. Yeah, look,
look. I'm taking result.
Keep chase. No,
she's ulted.
Look good. We're bar ulted, but it's good, I think. I'm fine.
Looks decent.
Yeah. Wait. Fight it out. Ksante, guys.
Careful stacking. Hwei's over the wall.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. We kill her. Wait for end.
Can you come Ambessa? And you can keep
Oh, you can see Berserker wanted to end, but now we have Elder fight time. Ocean Soul for Sentinels, 3,000 gold deficit, and they're the ones with control of the river.
Yeah, they are controlling the river here. LYON has mid lane control, but they're not going to be pushing for the towers. They're looking to fight. Dhokla taking a little bit of poke there, as is Isles, and now Isles takes a headshot, is down below half HP. And Sentinels, you do not want to be trading poke here against this Ocean Soul team. Locket has to be used there. They're going to go for the Realm Warp. Isles is going to go on a one-way trip. He's into the back line. He's looking for Rahel. In comes the depth charge. There's no follow-up on the side. Impact is fighting against Saint and Berserker, but it is two members from LYON down, and there's the flash forward. The bullet time comes out. Berserker flashing in, trying to make it happen here. He's going to be all by himself. Saint on the other side trying to take out Impact. He's got to do it. He can't get him down. The Severing Bolt will be sidestepped, but it is Saint in a 1v4, and it feels like Sentinels have done it.
Looks like they're going to be the first team to take down LYON with the push in the bot lane.
There's the teleport coming in onto that bottom tower. Saint sidestepping as much as he possibly can, but Impact is back and he is full health, and Saint can do nothing. Hit by the Crushing Maw, stunned up by the Pathmaker. LYON will take their first defeat of the season. It is Sentinels that hand it to him 2-1.
A nice exhale by DARKWINGS at the end there. He was so far ahead for moments, felt like maybe they'd throw it away. In a series where having the big gold lead felt like a curse, Sentinels managed to close out the third game with the Soul. That is huge momentum for them to take in to next week, where they will have 2 matches.
And very big for their playoff chances here. Now Sentinels in a much more comfortable spot. LYON has fallen in their final series here. We are assuming with Armao, Inspired should be rejoining them for their road trip down to Mexico in week 6. But they will not be undefeated going into that potential matchup against TL.
Yeah.
And TL will have that chance to take sole possession.
Puts this season in such an interesting light. Team Liquid, the last undefeated team, but we're going to be sending it to the lounge. Huhi and HamBak?
Huhi and HamBak.
That's who we're going to be talking to.
Dynamic duo, Emily. Hey, your prediction, not too shabby. You were ready to take the ice plunge already today.
I gotta ask them about my. I gotta tell them about my bet that I really need